Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing.
Say that last sentence.
Thank you for the witnesses for being here today. I think this is one of the most pressing issues facing our country, and it is the most pressing issue facing our country because of what we saw over the last 4 years. On a conservative estimate under the last administration, 11 million people flooded, I would argue, were pushed into our country, sometimes done on a quota system under the Biden administration. Some estimates have it up to 20 million. Many of those didn't even come through checkpoints. They just came across without any sort of checking in, without any sort of claiming, without any sort of process. And many, many, many of those had criminal histories before they even got here. And I know this was a hard question to answer, but it should be an easy one. Mr. Ellison, you are the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota.
I'm not a, what question is that, Senator?
You're the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota.
I of course am, obviously. That's,
Well,
I was introduced
you
that way.
didn't answer Senator Hawley, so I'm just trying to get that on the record. I will easily answer. Not only am I the newest United States Senator, I was the Attorney General for the state of Florida. Easy answer. We'll start there. So I'm going to take us back to 2021 when Biden reversed precedent of Democrat and Republican presidents going back in modern history and changed whether or not they were going to deport people here illegally that had committed felonies. Do you remember when that executive order came out where they said very specifically they were changing whether or not they would be deporting people here illegally committing felonies? Do you remember that?
I cannot say I have a tight recollection of that.
I remember it because I was the Attorney General, which is often referred to as the top cop or the top law enforcement official or prosecutor in a state. I remember it because I was desperately getting calls from sheriffs around my state saying, I have somebody in here for burglary or drug trafficking, whatever. They are canceling detainers. Do you remember anybody coming to you and saying they're canceling detainers?
I remember we had a robust conversation around a range of issues, and what we did is evaluated Minnesota law and shared that information.
And what I mean by that is under the Biden administration, Mayorkas and everybody that was working on immigration started systematically breaking down the border. And not only that, which allowed for the 11 million to 20 million people to come in, not only that, they started telling law enforcement officials around the nation that had in their custody people here illegally committing crimes, don't hold them anymore. We're going to abandon precedent that used to be done under Democratic and Republican presidential administrations, and we're going to stop holding people here illegally committing crimes. Don't detain them because that's not our policy anymore. So what did I do as the top law enforcement official in the state of Florida, as the Attorney General? I sued the Biden administration immediately and fought back because my law enforcement officials had the trust in me that I would fight for the safety of our communities. It just came out recently after we had to bear the absolute devastation to this country as it related to immigration and crimes in our community under the Biden administration, that the Trump administration said that we have gotten out of your state tens of thousands of people here illegally with criminal backgrounds. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm sorry, are you asking me if committing crimes is a bad thing? The answer is
No.
yes.
Trump administration said they have removed from your state 10,000 people that were here illegally that had criminal backgrounds. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
If you're asking me are you asking me to rely on what the Trump administration has said?
Assume it is true, because I think you're going to debate me on this. They have removed tens of thousands of people across the country that are here illegally, that have committed crimes. They have a criminal background. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I agree with the general premise that we should remove the worst of the worst who are not authorized to be in the United States who commit crimes.
Okay, so if they're here illegally and they've committed burglary, should they be removed? What was that?
Ma'am.
You said yes, I just couldn't hear you.
Ma'am, look, I think I answered your question.
You didn't. I'm asking you now.
If you're asking me,
this is a simple question. As the top cop of Minnesota, if someone burglarizes someone's home and they're here illegally, should they be deported?
If somebody commits a felony offense, I mean, but it's.
Okay, let me make it simple. If they are drug trafficking and they are in Minnesota and they're here illegally, should they be deported?
Have they been convicted?
Let's assume they've been convicted.
Yeah.
Okay. If they have broken into people's homes or committed theft, or let me go as far as saying if they've committed fraud and they're here illegally, should they be deported?
Have they been convicted?
If they are in the process and they have a background of a criminal conviction for any crime, should they be deported?
People who have been convicted and are not authorized to be in the country should be removed.
Okay, if they've been convicted and they have an application.
A fiery Senate hearing explodes into a dramatic showdown over immigration enforcement, criminal deportations, and state cooperation with federal authorities. Accusations fly, tempers flare, and the debate over sanctuary policies takes center stage. Was this about law and order or politics? Watch the full breakdown of the heated exchange and decide for yourself.
In process or they've claimed asylum, should they be removed?
Don't we need to find,
If they have a criminal conviction for fraud and they're here
Yes.
illegally, or they have a
They-
process
they-
pending,
they
should they be removed?
if they have a criminal conviction for felony fraud and they're unauthorized to be in the country, they should be removed.
So do you think it would shock the federal government when in January of 2026, you said, and I quote, we're not going to help the Trump administration. We're not going to devote the resources of our state to help the Trump administration. That's not our business. We're not going to help them. We're not going to do their bidding.
I'm glad you asked me.
Hold on. Do you think it would surprise an administration who's trying to go back and rid communities of people here illegally that are committing crimes to have the top law enforcement officer of the state said, we're not going to help them?
So, Senator, here's the thing. The federal government is a government of limited and enumerated powers, among them immigration enforcement.
Do you think you should help remove people here illegally that have committed crimes? Should you help the administration?
We should obey Minnesota and federal law. That's what we should do.
Does it surprise you that you said you think you have 7 counties that have entered into 287G out of 87 counties, 7? Would it surprise you that Florida has every one of our counties signed up to help the administration rid our communities of those that are here legally committing crimes?
It would neither surprise me or not surprise me.
Does it surprise you that
states
you're
are
having
different.
all of these problems in Minnesota because you have a top cop that won't help rid its community of those here illegally committing crimes?
You know what?
It's a tale of 2 states, a tale of 2 attorney generals, and how this is all playing out. It should surprise no one in this country. And in fact, let me go a step further. It should surprise no one in this country that the problems that we have had in your state as a result of a top cop not working with law enforcement to make its community safe and rid people here committing crimes, that you're seeing what has played out. And let me just say,
that's actually wrong. That's actually quite wrong.
You cannot have an attorney general
certainly disagree with that.
Post pictures supporting Antifa with an expectation you are going to have a civilized, stable, safe community that works with federal law enforcement to deport criminals here illegally committing crime. That is a joke. And it is also the reason why you have a crisis in law enforcement ranks. You have such a high vacancy rate in your state because no one that wears a badge and does these dangerous jobs believes that their top cop supports them. And as the wife of a law enforcement officer, I think that is a shame, and your state deserves better.
Senator, I thought we were going to have a real conversation. I'd be happy to have one, but now I know that you don't really want one, so congratulations on your theater.
Expired. With that, this concludes our first panel. I'd like to thank our witnesses for participating in today's hearing. We will now transition to our second panel momentarily.
So we're going to use the same order?
Do you have the second?
We'll get you on.
Okay, the run of show.
You fine do this once they get settled? We'll just a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
If you enjoy this breakdown, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more political breakdown.